18 months to the next election, he feels comfortable enough to introduce a new fund that probably will either raise the debt levels of this country or raise taxation beyond the already punitive levels it is at. Politically speaking, it may be a positive thing, the infrastructure fund, but politically speaking, this is a very confident president.
Well, he has every reason to be confident because we were saying it last week. A tyrant governs through money, violence, and persuasion. Many times in the name of lies. Now, in the absence of Raila, because to some extent he was principled, and he could be able to rally troops to oppose, political troops to oppose something. Now that means that the capacity for the president to compromise parliament through money, he would have greater capacity to do that, because the questions would be, if the numbers are not enough, what's your price to change your position? And I believe sufficient money have been accumulated over the last 3 years to ensure that using money, you can be able to get whatever numbers you want to push, even to push for an anti-people agenda. So I believe that is a main source of confidence. But the bigger issue to me is actually a constitutional or legal one, in the sense that when you read the Kenyan Constitution, the question of, like the arrogant saying, pass the law, leave the question for where to get the money. To me, that question is for Parliament. It is for parliaments to decide, we are passing the law, and this is how money is going to be raised. Precisely. Not even the rationale. To actually say or approve. Usually the president in a presidential system or in a system, you can only propose, but the decision maker is not the president. But he seems to have already arrogated himself because of this issue of parliamentary capture that we have in Kenya, that the parliament only plays a nominal role, but substantively he decides all that issue. But that is primarily the constitutional role of parliament. So that parliament in Kenya or anywhere else, you cannot have a situation whereby you have created a fund and you have not approved this is the amount of fund we intend to raise, when and how. All those details must be there. And therefore, if it happens without all those details, it will raise an important constitutional question. But there is a second also equally important constitutional question that I see in all this. There is a question of double taxation. In Kenya, we already have, for example, infrastructure. Road has always been the main infrastructure in Kenya. We have even the Railways Development Levy. You had money that used to be raised through the Kenya Roads border, which recently was securitized. Why was this money securitized? This money was securitized so that you can get money in advance and do whatever you want to do. So that the truth of the matter is, we are paying the sins because Parliament allowed something unconstitutional to take place, that there is no income stream for the government to be able to do anything because whatever money is there is being paid to the banks. Therefore, no project can be undertaken. So that now when you are told you will be paying money to go to pay for the banks for a loan that we do not know how it was used. And remember, and that is connected to the next question, that increasingly, you know, a long time ago, like during the Moi era, corruption would take the form of a parastatal is working, you overemploy, but now the parastatals are broke. So there is now money to steal from parastatals. You could steal land. Almost every significant land that had value has already been stolen. So that over the last 15, 20 years, the dominant source of money for stealing by the elite, particularly the people around the president, have been loans. So that the infrastructure fund, let us call it for what it is. The source of money we may not be Kenyans. The Kenyans, obviously, in the long run, we need to pay the loan. But the plan here is this. You need to prove to whoever, the Arabs, the Chinese, anybody else where you are going to get the money, that the Kenyans will be put into financial servitude over the next 30 years to pay this money, if you allow us to give the loans. But also, you also need to remember, there is nothing in Kenya here. You will have scenarios whereby total project worth 300 million, you use 300 billion, you use 1.5 trillion. Because we need to understand, and Kenya need to understand, that the main source of money, the main source of corruptions are loans. So that if you don't get that, you miss everything. So that this is nothing, this is corruption. You are creating money to steal. And the infrastructure fund, now that there are few places to steal money from, will be the main vehicle to finance the 2027 elections.
And the question now is, can Parliament do anything about it? Because listening to all